for fighting in Oka, and then they were transferred to Akuzu SARS office. Their parents were made aware of the arrest, and then they went to see them last week. They were told that they had to pay about 150,000 naira for damages because they were fighting. Okay, this is what the police told them. The parents were still running around for the money. One of them, Uchenna James Okafo, his parents saw him on Tuesday, the 3rd of January, and tried to pay 50,000 naira share to bail him. But they were asked to return on Thursday as the IPO doesn't work on Wednesday and wasn't available. Now, they returned on Thursday to be told that their son had died the night before. The claim is that he woke up at night and hit his head on the wall, and they took him to the hospital. Then he died. His parents were not called to be informed, as at now, they still have no access to his body. Now, again, the police, somebody on Twitter was now asking that, why is SARS still functional? Why are they still killing young people? How did James Okafo die after seeing his parents a day before? And what happened at night before, morning? And why wasn't the family informed immediately? And then, of course, the family is asking, where is the body of this young man? And this might just be the only one that made it to, the press. There's so many others that could have happened. But I want to start by asking Aki, why are we still having these kinds of conversations after what happened on October 20, 2020?
It's very sad. First of all, I'd like to sympathize with the family of the young man and family of many young Nigerians across the nation who continue to die at the hands of a police force that has promised reform, a police force that has seen reinvestments with training, a police force that again has promised to live up to the highest ideals with making sure lives and property are being secured, and the future of Nigeria is not a targeted group that will not allow to enjoy the promise of a great future. Just, to reflect on this particular Akuzu SARS, some of the horrifying images with James Nwafo again, that's an unending case. We will see that we press that matter, even through subsequent changes in administration, where you had corpses dumped in the Azu River, where you had young people go missing. Young people had all kinds of allegations hung on their necks just in a bid to see that extortion and perhaps harassment, was being perpetrated by criminal elements in a police force that's basically chartered to protect lives and property. And for these young people in Anambra and just Akuzu SARS, I think for me, at this point, we definitely need the IG of police to set up not a committee, but perhaps a dismantling process of that entire unit. Like, we need that building converted to a different kind of community service outlet, because you can't keep having the same horrifying stories out of a particular location. It's like you're repeating the same thing and expecting different results. So perhaps the DPO, all of the officers in that station need to be transferred. They need to just start from scratch and simply make sure that people, young people, especially in Anambra, and the citizens can live their lives in peace. I mean, let's even leave Anambra, as a focal point for now and spread the torchlight across the nation. If you are driving in Lagos and many metropolitan areas, there's been a recent rise in police checkpoints across the nation. Are you asking yourself, do we have these policemen on the road to conduct, stop and search because there is a known increase in threat, or perhaps, security information? Or again, as you saw during the festive season, they were everywhere, and what were you seeing? It was just simply to extort motorists, and most especially young people. It's become a scourge. 2 years after young people laid down their lives, worked with the government, 5 for 5, where we had demands, again, yet to be 100% implemented, we are seeing a return back to status quo. What would it take as a nation to get it right? I mean, we keep asking this question, but I think we're getting to the point where asking questions is no longer enough. Do we take action back to the streets? What will it take for this IG of police, who stops at his desk with making sure that a police force he has promised to reform, a president who has equally committed to the nation saying he will invest properly with seeing that the police gets it right? What would it take? I mean, you have human rights commissions, you have all sorts of groups every day, waking up, highlighting cases, and yet it's only getting worse. What will it take is my question.
I think my colleague has a question for you.
Akin, good morning and thanks for joining us. I would like to ask this. During the End SARS campaign, there was this elaborate solution to SARS. Mm-hmm. A different group was set up. A different group was launched. Something was told to us that SARS is no more. It's shocking to hear Marianne read from the days that SARS, they were taken to SARS base. So what was that? What happened in 2020? Was it a cosmetic solution? Okay, you guys don't want SARS. Let's add a letter to it. What do we do as a people? What do we do as a people? How do we handle this? Is it by, you told us SARS is no more. Now, is there still SARS? Who do we hold up to? What do we do as a people? What can we do?
So I like the fact that you apply the word cosmetic changes, because what you see was simply stripping up the name SARS and replacing it with SWAT. So if you recollect at the time where the IG of police, we are seeing your demands, we will end SARS, but we would transform them into a unit called SWAT, and we came to the end SWAT, because then again, we know Nigeria is a country in which, if you can't secure lives and order, you simply just implement curfew. Mm-hmm. If you can't get XYZ done, you just make life difficult for citizens. There's never a true solution to lasting to problems that have lingered. And the 545 demand, let me just again freshen our memories. We said release of all arrested protesters, justice for deceased victims, so Kolade Johnson, and many cases that this young man in Anambra that we're discussing about. Unfortunately, we said set up an independent body to investigate and prosecute reports of police misconduct within 10 days. You know that today that's not the case. Mm-hmm. In line with the new Police Act, we said psychological evaluation and retraining of all disbanded SARS officers before they can be redeployed. Point 4. So the same SARS units that got disbanded, did they retrain the officers? Before they redeploy them, did they mentally evaluate them to see that these people are fit for service? Are they going to be a danger to society or a danger to themselves and their families? And lastly, we said, hey, increase the police salaries so we can understand that the days of standing on the roadside as a police recruit earning 10,000 naira and having to feed off bribes of motorists is long behind us. But no, all of these things, young people, not a sitting House of Assembly, not a House of Reps, not the Senate, not the President, young people in Nigeria banding together saying enough is enough. You would think that a smart government, a group of politicians, or perhaps, let me even just throw the buck to a ruling party and say, these people would sit back and understand that for once, if young Nigeria, the future of the nation, is saying these are things, there's already unemployment to worry about. There's lack of jobs. There's dwindling network resources. There's surging forex. Everything is against you as a young Nigerian. But the one thing you're saying is, now we are alive, and we'll be successful. Give us perhaps a peace to know that we can move freely. I can wear a tattoo on my body. I can carry dreadlocks. I can wear a face cap. I can have a laptop as an IT professional and not be harassed by a group of criminals masquerading as police officers. And you ask yourself, what would it take? So again, they simply disbanded SARS. They reintegrated many of these officers back into the force. Perhaps there were a few state judicial panels that went a mile with seeing that they could live up to expectations, but overwhelmingly across 36 states, many of the reforms have not been implemented. Many of the reports of these panels have not been implemented. So again, we're asking, what will it take?
I want to just, go back a bit. You talked about, transferring the guys in our car, and it makes me remember the fact that the police spokesperson here in Lagos, Mr. Hunde, what's his name now, did say that they were moving these officers from the Ajiwe police station, transferring them because, in his words, they had become too used to the boys in the area and the crime and the criminality, and somewhat they could have been in cahoots with them. But what stops these guys from doing the same thing when they go to the next area that they're being posted to? So is it just about reposting and reshuffling? Because this is my question. This is where I'm stuck at. Does that solve the problem? Again, you talk about the fact that, it's a ruling party or a group of politicians, but these group of politicians they're not all from the same political party. In fact, some of them that were in opposition in 2020, who still are, I guess, spoke against it. But what have they done to push to make sure that there's a serious and active police reform other than just paying lip service and hoping that Nigerians will vote for them because of what they just said?
So, great question. And I refer to ruling party because, again, we operate a federal police force, not a state police system. That's a debate for another day. Perhaps is that the ultimate solution to what we're seeing with issues between police and communities, police and young people? I mean, I dare to say this. You can't be a young Ismaila, a police recruit from Kaduna, and you are posted to a community in Eket where you can barely speak the language. Yes, I understand we want, to crisscross Nigeria across the nation, so we have a level playing field. But then again, I think we ought to look at the policing where people who belong to a society, to a community, who understand the problems of those communities, grew up in those communities, have the best interests at heart for those communities, should be the one policing those communities. So we can come back a different day to debate state policing. But then I say it because if you look at the ruling party and all of the, as they call it, assignments or perhaps nominations, from the police officers unions to the board that has oversight on police matters, it's all at the desk of the presidency and vis-a-vis the ruling party. So that's why, again, I would not ascribe the problem to a young local government chairman who's of a different party, knowing that it's a federal problem. So our policing structure is federal. So again, the ruling party has to carry this weight. Now, not even trying to politicize the matter, and I'll take a step back from that. I'm simply saying, part of the 5 for 5 demands was at the point where you are redeploying a police officer, are you reevaluating that officer and making sure that officer is fit for service? And there's enough investment in our budget to Nigerian police force that these things are affordable. They are not out of it. I equally know of line items from foreign government where trainings, where support, where material and financial contributions are made to the police force. So we cannot all around 360 say, Nigeria is too broke to implement certain requirements. We've seen that we have a structured, a well-fit police force to handle our internal matters.
Aki, I'm sure that there's a lot to unearth on this particular matter. Now, for this boy's case, it's not just enough injury that he's died in police custody for whatever reasons, because of course they've been told he's head on the wall and then out. But then his corpse is yet to be released to his family, which is a whole different kettle of fish on its own. Where do they even start from to get redress? Because again, from what we've had, the conversation we've had this morning, and the questions that Stretch and I have asked, it looks like a lot of Nigerians who are caught in this net might just be left on their own if there's not a national outcry of sorts, like in the case of the lawyer.
So it's only unfortunate that it's when it's a prominent, individual in society related to people who have access to the media or perhaps, certain platform that we see these cases get highlighted. And I really praise you all at 93 Info, 99.3 Info for really taking this head on, because I think we ought to have a Nigeria where the son of a farmer, the son of a plumber, the son of a fisherman should equally have the same redress in a court of law within our legal system. Equally in the media, we're seeing that everyone matters. And the quality of the cost of what is the value of a Nigerian life? I often ask people. And when I see cases like this being discussed on video, it gives me hope and it gives me reassurance in the Nigerian dream many of us, hope for. So again, kudos to you and your colleagues. Now, if you're thinking about this young man that again he claimed hit his head, he was last seen within the police station and its environment. He was in the custody of the Nigerian police force. As a Nigerian, if I can't sleep at night and I'm having nightmares and somebody's going to kill me, the safest place for me to go and pass the night should be a police station. Should be. So you should not have me in custody of the police and I actually wind up dead the next morning. And then my corpse is missing. Like, explain to me. I don't, it's sometimes in Nigeria, like the more you look, the less you see. How is it that a young man who is within the covers of the police goes missing, his corpse goes missing or unaccounted for? And this is a country in which you've seen all kinds of criminality get perpetuated perhaps this young man's body could have gotten thrown into a mix of bodies they will claim, were armed robbery suspects. You've seen a lot of that. When I was 18 years old in River State, I had a family, a very close friend, Odu. He was a young boy. He was a Uniport student. UST at the time actually got executed by a police DPO. This was back in 1999. And at the time, he was labeled an armed robber, but he was just a young boy coming back from classes in school. So for many of us, we've grown up seeing this horror. We understand what happens in our society, and we're only fearing the worst. If you have a young 16, 17-year-old kid, boy or girl, you go to bed at night wondering if that young person running an errand is safe and will come back home. And these things are just the horrors, in addition to many of the plights us Nigerians have to live through every day. We don't have power, we don't have water, we don't have healthcare. But on top of that, I can't just walk out down the street and come home as a young boy and not find myself, dead in a police station.
Akin, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, and Lagosians would want to chime in on this, and I think one of my colleagues has a question for you. We'll be right back. It's still What's Up Lagos. Akin Olaoye is our guest this morning. Stay with us.
More conversation, more talk, more right after this.
Yeah, Shubano. Yeah, life is simple when you dial *671#. No closing time, no sign this and that. Just run out with *671#. For airtime and data, you no get wala. *671#. *671#. To send and receive money or deposit and withdraw cash. To pay for lights and cable TV below. If I say it's simple, it better pass in cash. 671.
Just dial *671# to open a Momo wallet today or download Momo app from Google or Apple Play Store. Life is simpler with Momo. Better than cash. Deposit your old Naira notes into your Momo wallet at the nearest Momo agent outlet on or before 31st January 2023.
People of Nigeria don't talk them say na Asiwaju Bola Tinubu them want as president of Nigeria.
He do better work for Lagos State when he be governor. Till today, Lagos people see they enjoy from all the better things with Jaburata for Lagos.
As it can't be so, make we all come out for election day and vote Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president of Nigeria.
Vote Senator Kashim Shettima as a vice president. Vote APC.
Who be the president? We go vote. Bola Tinubu.
Some people say tech is the new crude oil, and others say tech is in the future. With ALX, tech is here and here to stay. ALX is your career accelerator, built to give you in-demand global tech skills and access to a community that provides lifelong learning, lifelong networks. Register on www.alxafrica.com as the programs are fully funded for a limited period. Unlock possibilities with ALX.
Before now, getting a good HMO that works perfectly for my staff was a hassle. I decided to try Reliance HMO. I registered all 100 staff in 5 minutes. I have access to 24 hours responsive helpline and an account manager that helps me with whatever I need. My staff loves the access to the gym, spa, dental care, and hospitals. I will recommend Reliance HMO any day.
Visit reliancehmo.com/corporate or call 0700 7354 2623. Reliance HMO. You can rely on us.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
We are back.
We're back on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
It's what we do.
You know, the youth of Nigeria have historically been apathetic towards the electoral process. There's no way for the youth to participate in mainstream fields like oil and gas, banking, and so on. The youth are actively excluded from those fields. And so we just created our own way in tech.
Informed analysis, reliable and accurate.
We actually advocate you get your eyes checked at least once a year. When you go for an eye check, the routine things they do for you is to check your visual acuity. Your visual acuity is how good you see. A lot of us don't actually know that we don't see so well, but because, like I said earlier, we can count money, we think we're doing very well.
Your number one station for talk, 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
If you wish to be a commercial manager for a company or you wish to earn well on a weekly and a monthly basis, Kirby Nigeria is a multinational company and they are offering you an opportunity to be part of their managers across Nigeria with earnings over 500,000 naira. A car is needed for this role, just so you know. But if you're interested in this, all you have to do is call the numbers 0815-705-0505. That is 0815-050-505. 0815 705-0505 or 0905-637-4258. Take it again, 0905-637-4258 for more details.
What's Up Lagos right here.
Yeah.
I'll take you to Lagos. I'll take you to Lagos.
All right, we're back. A Stretch still in the building. Mary Anna Cone and Info Girl is still What's Up Lagos? Yes, it is What's Up Lagos, and it's the nation's number one talk news and sports radio station, 99.3 Nigerian Info. We're live broadcasting from Itamian Crescent right here in Victoria Island, Lagos. And our guest is Akin Olaoye. He's an active citizen. We're talking about the resurface of SARS and the rise in police brutality. So we're not just talking about SARS, we're talking about the police in general and all of the things that have happened even before Christmas Day and right after that. And of course, what happened in Oka and what the government of the day, whether it be the Buhari administration, whether it be the government that's coming after the Buhari administration, how do we deal with the Nigeria police force so that it can be going in the direction for which it was put together in the first place, policing, protecting lives and property, as opposed to what they're doing right now? And before we went on that break, I was asking that is it enough to just talk about or blame the government at the center as opposed to states governors, states houses of assemblies, state chairmen and local councillors who all are supposed to be our representatives and government that is closest to us the most? And if it looks more like these people who are all from different political parties seem to be somewhat together in that silence, then what's the hope for policing in Nigeria? Well, the phone lines are open. We'll be allowing you to call in, and of course ask questions, join the conversation, share your concerns. 0700 993 993 993. That's 0700 993 993 993. You can call if you're a lady, 01 465 7190. Where do we go from here? But we have a quick question from InfoGirl. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much for your insight so far. I wanted to know, you said something about, you mentioned, using the tribesmen of a particular state as security personnel. And I'm wondering, doesn't this kind of shift away from the idea of integration? Are we not supposed to be centering our focus on the human side of this officials, their professionalism instead of focusing on using tribesmen of a particular state? What do you think about that?
Okay.
So, great question. And I think that was something I was trying to highlight earlier when we spoke. At the age of 10, I'll just point to a scenario. We had a police officer in the community where I lived, and his name was Hassan, and he was from Katsina. At the time, I used to try to, learn different languages. So he was someone I would speak to, very friendly, human, amazing soul. This guy really cared about the community, but he was far away from home. And at the time, I would ask my mom, I said, what's it like in Katsina? Why is a young police officer in Rivers State, Port Harcourt, where I grew up? And she explained to me how she was a teacher, how the police force, again, would deploy officers from different states or regions to opposite regions in a bid to, again, as we call it, foster integration. Look at the NYSC, like you highlighted, and many other policies we have. But then something never made sense, because at the time, I could remember this officer traveling for about a month didn't see him anywhere, only to return and we're like, oh, they traveled to bury one of their colleagues. And, I was young, didn't really understand, the concept of people dying and all of that. But then as I grew older, something struck me. You deploy me all the way from Sokoto or perhaps Kobe to Delta or to Akure, Ondo State. I don't know anyone in the community. I'm left to fend for myself. My income is crappy at the time. Nigerian police officers are not paid very well today. Again, with the new, let me call it, demands we made from the 5 for 5 during the NSARS. I hear police salaries have been reviewed upwards. I hope those wages are very livable. But it's been a known fact that Nigerian police officers were the worst paid individuals in Nigeria. So how do you give a man a gun, put the man in a community where he has no relatives, no friend, no social support network, and expect the same man with the training, the very poor training he has received, to live to the highest ordeals? It's impossible. Even when he's a good human being, there is still that measure of temptation to use that weapon or that tool of oppression within his possession to enrich himself or to feed himself. For many times, it's them trying to really see that they have ability to feed. And I say this because we ought to review our policing structure. Every generation writes its rules. So people in my generation are simply saying, from what we've seen growing up, you cannot keep doing things the same way, expecting different results. At what point do we sit back as a nation and reevaluate our policing structure? Perhaps do we have young people in societies who understand their communities, who understand the elements in their society, in their communities that are the problem, who understand the solutions to the problems? So when you transplant people from one community to another without adequate welfare, without a support system or a structure that gives them the relief that I will be okay, how do you then expect them to wake up every day and they get a phone call and they tell them there's an armed robbery down the street, and then he look at you, oh, when that armed robber kill me, who will bury me? Who will carry my body, go back my village? And you start hearing some of these things that again demotivate people. So psychology, as a country, we're very intelligent as Nigerians. We have the solution to our problems right in front of us. Is it a lack of political will? Is it political, or is it just cluelessness? Some people in power that we find ourselves with issues that we feel like it can never be resolved. And I'm simply saying, as part of our national conversation, as part of kitchen table discussions, what will it take to truly reform the police force? Perhaps it's about time we start looking at ways to close the gap between the police force and communities, and perhaps have people in communities be in charge of policing. People start talking of oppression, right? But again, that's a different topic.
Okay. Okay, the phone lines are open, guys. 0700 993 993 993, 0700 993 993 993. If you're a lady, call 01465 7190. That's 01465 7190. You can tweet with the hashtag WhatsApp Lagos on Twitter. There's a post up there. Let us know what your thoughts are, and you can be part of the conversation on our YouTube and our Facebook. Join the conversation. Sorry about that. If that was you, please call us back if you can. Hello, good morning. What's up, Lagos?
Hello.
Good morning. What's up, Lagos?
What's up, Lagos?
What's up? Cheers to life. Good morning.
Thank you very much. I greet you guys.
We can hear you. Just go ahead.
I'm listening to your yes, and I love whatever you're saying. You understand? So Nigeria, as far as I'm concerned, Nigeria has failed already. But I pray that they will rise up in all departments. See, there's no way you can recruit a police and give him a gun and pay him 50,000 naira a month or even 100,000 naira at Nigeria. That's where we are now. And you give him a gun and you don't want him to use it. You will not want him to be patriotic and love his job and do everything, and then his house is hungry. 100,000 naira cannot do anything. You understand what I'm saying? It's not possible. Let Nigeria and the police force get reformed, just as Peter said. God bless that death.
All right. Thank you very much for calling. 60 seconds is the time that we have on the clock. Hello. Good morning. What's up, Lagos?
Hello. Good morning. What's up, Lagos?
What's up? Oh, Victor, your line is breaking. Victor.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Police brutality cannot stop. Our brother, where is police officer, is working for Abia State there. they keep her, how they call the rank, the one where she they shake gun, give orders, make them go work. So that they clear that rank on 2020, January. So she just used to tell me that instead of her for be for office, he prepare for be for checking. For checking, for the checking, no a day she must take 30,000.
Wow.
He must get 30,000. That's in mama with his father, with his brother and sister. So police brutality will not stop. Another thing is that they copy governor them. The kind words where used to come for governor their mouth. That's the way where police copy them.
Okay.
They do waiting them like that's
right.
the issue.
Thank you very much, Victor, for calling.
Wow.
He's saying, look, my cousin, enjoys. He'd rather not do the desk job. He wants to be on the road because per day
30,000.
So he'd earn what he'd earn in a month if he were like a flatline civil servant.
That's about $1 million a month.
Do you know what that means?
180,000 naira weekly. Monday to Friday, actually.
And that's why he's saying this might never end. But hello, good morning. What's up, Lagos?
Hello, good morning. What's up, Lagos?
What's up? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Mercy calling from Resurface. Welcome back.
Mercy, my love. Well done.
Yeah, welcome back.
All right.
So, about the police brutality, there's this police station at Sabo at Garage Ikorodu here. I was passing in Marawa one day. I saw a police officer with rifle putting out this snuff, this local snuff. He just had his gun and was snuffing on duty. He was on duty. I don't know, maybe he tied the thing on inside nylon or what. And he was seriously shaking it on his nose. I was like, when this thing turn this man head now, he can do undo. So is this not the same police brutality that we are fighting for at Lekki, that the same police people come and shoot at us there? So what are we talking about? In fact, it is well. God will help us.
Amen. I think that's the most response you can get. Hello, good morning. What's up, Lagos?
What's up, Lagos?
What's up?
What's up? Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, this is Joseph. I'm coming in from Buffalo.
Joseph, go ahead, please.
For me.
Joseph, please turn off your radio or walk away from it right now, please.
Yes, I just believe one thing. And that thing is one thing that we should understand. The government that we talk about are the ones are seeing the police as a tool, as an operational tool. Knowingly seeing them as an operational tool. Like when they had to invite the military to the Lekki toll gate. They invited them to oppress and to suppress these people, so as to keep them perpetually under them, so nobody can ask questions. I have something that happened 3 days ago. A brother was coming to Lagos. He was brutally assaulted at home. His bags were torn. He was heavily beaten.
Wow.
For nothing. To whom do we complain? He was not killed. He was not shot. It wasn't in the social media. Nobody is aware. Nobody knows. But he was assaulted. He's been taking treatment. That is what we go through every day. They do those things to suppress us, so we can't say anything. People were killed at Lekki toll gate, so nobody will gather there again. Nobody will ask questions. They purposely, on purpose, are doing what they are doing. And they can't stop it. Because if they stop it, if they do the right thing, and put the police, especially the police.
We have to let you go because we wanted you to just land on your point. It's 60 seconds so that others can also be part of the conversation. All right? If you have questions, you got comments, we want you to join the conversation. We're talking police brutality. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
What's up, Lagos?
What's up, Lagos?
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
James from Isolo.
James, go ahead, please.
I had one caller. The shooting at Lekki toll gate, that October 20th, 2020, it wasn't police, it was Nigerian Army. That shooting at toll gate, it was Nigerian Army, not police. Thank you.
Okay. I'm assuming that you're a police officer trying to... Yes, so thank you for setting the record straight. Okay. Hello, good morning. What's up, Lagos?
Hello,
Can I
good morning.
respond?
Yeah, quickly after this
Good morning.
call.
What's up, Lagos?
What's up? Good morning. Cheers to life.
Speaking for my papa.
Go ahead,
Emeka, go ahead.
See, know that the way police work in Anambra State is not the same way they work in Lagos State, and not the same way they work in Sokoto State. These are the same Nigerian police. In terms of Anambra State, as regards Nigerian police force, it is a hell of a state. Anambra is a state where the inhabitants use police for intimidation. And they are the people that hate these policemen so much. They use police to intimidate their fellow brothers. Understand me? Do you know, if Nigerian police force is the only government profession and Nigerians start doing what they're supposed to do, is the only government profession that we can put to proper, they will be behaving properly. These are the only government profession that we can put to be behaving properly. If we Nigerians should wake up, you understand me? But we are more of the problem than the police force. I am not a police force. None of my family members are police.
Quickly, in
issues, you understand me? If police should arrest you now, without you doing anything, there are processes you should go. You understand me? There are things you're supposed to do. It will start going down. But we are so... they will do whatever they like and we will do nothing.
Okay. Well, so he's saying we need to stand up to our rights, but
this guy is dead. Well, you wanted to respond to something.
Akin, you wanted to, quickly give a response to the guy who said it was soldiers who shot at the protesters.
Yeah, so the Lucky Tollgate, I think oftentimes when, people refer to police killers at the tollgate because the tollgate shooting was in two halves. The military showed up between, again, I'm very, distinct here. Distinct, 6:44 p.m. and 10 p.m. And the police came and did their bit between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. There was two parts, part one, part two. But then again, back to this gentleman I just spoke, I hear where he's coming from, but then again, he's equally attempting to gaslight and throw the problem back at Nigerians, which is unfair because, again, you can't expect a young family or perhaps the average Nigerian family to live chasing their daily bread, to take up matters in the legal system that, is basically a journey to nowhere. Have you seen what it takes filing an appeal in a Nigerian court? Then you talk more of going to a police station, and let me just highlight this young person in Anambra today that the corpse is missing. Take this family to abandon everything they're doing in the middle of grieving, in the middle of all the, pain and sorrow, and would have to chase a system that is, non-functional. So when you throw the problem back at Nigerians, I want to then ask, what are you attempting to do at the end of the day? You want to just push Nigerians to an ocean with all of the myriad of problems you have? Now, there's something that equally plagues us in Nigeria as a nation. We have a talent at blaming the victim. If a young girl gets raped, they'll tell her she wore miniskirts. If a wife is beaten at home, they'll say she was rude to her husband. If a young boy is arrested outside the road, they say, but look at your haircut. We always blame the victim. Before we without even taking a focal look at the problem, saying these are institutional issues that have to be resolved. And I don't know what it will take to reprogram the Nigerian mind, because I hear it all, many times too often. I ask myself, are we psychologically damaged to a point where we cannot be redeemed? And I say this because if you're a Nigerian listening to this radio program, it ought to be a kitchen table discussion. Don't wait till it's a family member or a close friend or an ally that is a victim. But again, anytime we hear these cases, we should all feel the same emotion, because it could be you or I walking down the street innocently, that find your hands, at the mercy of a system that is brutal. So I think perhaps it's the military complex we've suffered as a nation post, military regime or juntas where brutality was a way of life. You see a soldier flogging somebody side road, people remove their camera phones and start giggling. What is there to giggle about somebody's human right being trampled on? You see a police officer harassing somebody and they say, oh, serves him right, without even finding out what even transpired. Why would the police officer, again, harass a citizen and we gleefully, admire the event? It's psychological damage through and through.
Okay, I just quickly wanted to add, because, the man was saying that we have rights and we're not exercising those rights. You go to a police station, it's posted clearly, bail is free. But we just talked a few minutes ago about having to pay a bail of 50,000 each for 3 boys who were fighting themselves. And then so talking about rights, where is
I think that's in redress, and we think as basic as there should be no checkpoints in some certain places, and the checkpoints are there blatantly. And the one that trips me is the one that you're driving behind a vehicle and the policeman in front of you is collecting money in your sight.
Shamelessly.
He does not even, he's fearlessly, I want to say.
Couldn't be bothered.
So I'm saying these things cut so deep, and you're telling me redress. Where do you go to?
Exactly.
Who answers this?
If law enforcement is the one breaking the law. Well, we got messages on WhatsApp. Let's quickly get to it.
It's a very long one from Fred. He says, this police bad attitude is so bad that even our filmmakers also put those kind of practice in our local movies to show how hopeless it is. It's difficult to change the orientation. Even certain crimes now have its status response. You hear the IG of police is calling for this and that. What happens to the commissioners? Why are they silent? He says for the police to just shift a whole set of policemen to another location without considering and deeply investigating the files. Have all these men open in this station? I don't understand that. It clearly shows Nigeria has very poor records in their stations. Definitely there is no 0 case files. Then this one, he says, this state police thing will even be a major disadvantage for the service policemen, especially those that are from the community they police. Late last year, some bandits went directly to a DPO's mother's house in his village and killed his mother and brother. The community started to protest.
Well, that's because the system in itself doesn't work. It's not isolated. I mean, it's unfortunate, but then it has to be a system that works. Anyway. We're going to go back and take a few more calls. I can see how this particular conversation has dampened a lot of people's morale, but then we have to have these conversations.
Yeah, there's
we
one
have
more
another
question
message
here from Omenka John from Lekki. He says, good morning, what's up, Lagos? Please, concerning your guests wanting to take charge of the police force in their community, my question is, are there no bad people or criminal in that same community? And it can jeopardize the whole efforts of community policing. That's what he says.
Yeah, but we're saying let policing be decentralized. We're not saying give me gun, give Stretch a gun. That's not what we're saying. But then if we're talking about community policing here, we're saying you and I can also serve as people who, if we're watchdogs. If we see something wrong happening in our community, we're supposed to tip the police off, who should not, go back to the people that and say it's Marianne that told me.
Careful of your fat friend.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he came to report, but be careful. You have a friend called Marianne. Be careful.
It reminds me of something, Stretch. I remember very vividly, if it wasn't 2016, it was 2017, of the young lady whose baby was raped by her landlord in River State. And we took that particular case on the Morning Crossfire at the time. And we found out that it was the DPO that they reported the case to that went back to the landlord to say, this is the person that came to report to. This is the person. So unfortunately, we can't even rely, on some of these people who are law enforcement. So why would we feel safe to go to them to tell them what the problem is? So again, it goes back to that caller who's saying we have rights and responsibilities, but if those rights are already being breached,
and when you say reform, it has to start from the electron, from the cell, from the atom level. It has to start from the beginning, when a policeman knows his duties.
Yes.
When a policeman
and knows the consequences of he not doing it.
And there should be consequences.
But are they?
Yeah. So if there are no consequences, there are no laws. If you tell me don't stand on the road, if I stand there, what will happen? Nothing. You encourage impunity. They do as they please.
Again, those men would tell you on the down low that there's somebody that they have to remit these monies to.
Have you heard the policeman tell you that I will waste you and nothing will happen?
Oh, of course. I have had. I've said it before. I've had a drunk policeman wearing flip-flops, reeking of alcohol at 7 p.m. at night and carrying an AK-47 and telling me that I will shoot you, nothing will happen.
And nothing will happen.
In front of a police station, by the way.
Oh, okay.
On Abacha Road. Well, let's just take 1 or 2 more calls before we wrap things up. Hello, good morning. What's up, Lagos?
What's up, Lagos?
What's up? Cheers to life. Cheers to life. Your 1 minute is finished. Cheers to life. Good morning. Your 1 minute has gone to 30 seconds. Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Louis David, calling from Lekki.
All right, go ahead quickly.
Oh, it's an amazing day. Happy try your life.
Yeah, thank God for your life.
Yeah. Please, I want to confirm about this issue of this police. Because some incident happened to me that I have to find my way to police station. My bank told me to go and get a police report. So when I get there, before they ever gave me that police report, there was a lot of chakara and all that things. They didn't take my issue serious at all. They were all doing the but finally they later get the police report. For them to release for me, it was the problem. Then I was just thinking maybe 3. So after everything, I said, okay, sir, please can I have the police report so I can rush down to the bank so that they can do the needful. They told me I have to go and bring 20,000 naira for me to get the police report. So
20,000 naira.
Is it? Yeah,
Sorry.
20,000 naira.
Wow.
So to confirm, is this police report, is it free or I don't know, they pay for
Maybe they have a rate card. Maybe there's a rate
Maybe
card.
we have to ask for the police rate
Yes,
card.
the rates card.
Because you see, the NIMC also has a rate card now. When you go there, if NIMC made a mistake on your card, you pay 15,000. If you want fast track, 60,000. So maybe the police have.
Maybe that one, the police report, 20K.
Maybe the police does have, but I mean the police spokesperson can be the one who would, or any
Tell us
police
that.
officer, senior police officer would be in a better position to inform us about that. One final. Okay, well, we have a message on Facebook. Let me just quickly read it, then we'll talk to Aki. Atanda Kayode here says on Facebook, there should be... Atonda.
Thank you.
Apologies, Atonda. There should be a series of method by which the police can apply enforcement to society. There's no need to carry a gun where there's a party or social activities, where social activities are in progress. Similarly, there's no reason for shooting a gun anyhow at a checkpoint for no reason. Enforcement is not about guns. Okay. This one, Awo Pedro or Motaya Michael says we need to check the way and who are being recruited into our force in general. For him, he says you can't just have anybody join the police force. Finally, Akin, before we let you go, because time is not on our side this morning, as we go about 2023, with all of the things that we've started the year with, the abductions and these killings by police officers and what happened before the year came to a close, well, I want to use the best of words to ask this question. Should we be very optimistic that with there's a new administration, a change of administration, that this would also come with a change in the policing in Nigeria?
Great question. I think now we're in a political season. Again, steering wheel is about to change hands. The presidency, again, many of us and many Nigerians often see as the to all of our problems or the solution to our issues in Nigeria. I love to push back on that. You have House of Assembly members. You have House of Rep members. You have people running for statewide office. Those individuals in their campaign stumps as part of their manifestos, are we asking questions? Are we saying that we're promoting candidates who speak to these issues? It's not just, again, speaking, 10,000 foot level, subsidy must go, or perhaps, increase salaries. We're saying social issues like policing. Do we have a laser-focused approach with seeing that we have solutions on the table? Are we looking to amend the Police Reform Act? Are we looking to, again, decentralize the police force?
We have to go. I'm so sorry. We have to go. Time is not on our side. Akin Olaoye is an active citizen. He was one of those at the toll gates protesting for police reforms and against SARS. Well, we want to say thank you, Akin, for being here and having this conversation with us. We're hoping that we'll have you back again talking about more social issues.
Thank you.
All right. And that's the show this morning, Lagos. For being part of the conversation. Don't forget to follow Nigeria Info on all of its platforms. Go follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, MIMIEYO, or just look for Mary Ann Jikokun anywhere. Stretch.
My name is Stretch Original on Instagram, Stretch Cool on Twitter. See you tomorrow.
Info girl.
See you tomorrow too.
All right. Bye-bye, Lagos. Love you.
I want to assume that you would run because I want to give the listeners context for the conversation.
In 2019, you were running mate to Atiku Abubakar. What did you learn then that you will not repeat? this time?
Yes, when is the president coming out to address us?
There's a few things. One, I have a burden and a passion for young people.
The fact that you have elected a man does not mean then you begin to order him around. The president will do whatever is good for the country at any given time.
Mr. Adeshino, isn't the president responsible to the people?
What should the next president do to root out stakeholders who are complicit?
You fire those. Those that need to be fired are fired. It's looking like a brand new Chelsea, attacking with so much fluidity. And what can you say about that, Martin? I know you follow Chelsea quite closely.
I live close to the Chelsea training ground. That's what you mean by that. I'm not.